Hi everyone, welcome to another episode of Conversation with me regarding my new series, which is Inner Security or Inner Peace and Security, how it is related to, in this conversation, leadership. So leadership is one of those things where sometimes we think we have to be in a CEO position, or we have to be a manager or something of status in order to be a leader. But being a leader can be as easy as you speaking up for something that you don't believe is correct, or you speaking your mind and saying, hey, isn't there another way for you to do something? So it's about speaking up. It's about understanding that you may not be going in the right direction, or a group may not be going in the right direction. That group could include your community, your family, your friends, and you saying, you know what, this is not right, so let's stop here and maybe assess the situation and see if we can take a different route. But what I like to tell people, when you are asked a question, ask another question back. Like, what do you mean by leadership? And sometimes, it's hard for us to grasp the words. Like, I like to play the word game in the sense that, okay, what does leadership mean? Okay, what words come to your mind? And then from there, you can assess how leadership has been part of your life, how you've stepped up possibly to be a leader, or how you haven't been a leader and why maybe have you not taken up that role. And if you are not able to grasp the words or to find the relationship for yourself, look up the word leadership in the dictionary and see what it means, and then try to apply the meaning that's given in the dictionary to your life. Again, how have you been a leader? How have you not been a leader? What opportunities did you miss by not being a leader? Or what opportunities happened when you stepped up to the plate and decided to be a leader? So those kinds of things. And by doing that, you allow for things not to be so complicated, because when you have diversive or diverging thought patterns from the group or from your friends, your family members, it can make things really complicated because you're not sure how to act, you're not sure how to behave. Then you put up a persona, and then you have to maintain that persona, and it becomes really convoluted. But if you step up and say how you feel right away, or talk about how you feel, talk about how you're opposed to a situation, how you're opposed to a decision, and speak up, it allows for things to be more simple. It allows for the opportunity for others to step up and say, hey, I was thinking the same thing, but I was scared. So you kind of align a domino effect that gives people the opportunity to talk about how they feel, that gives people the opportunity to also play the leadership role. And the leadership role doesn't have to be something that you stick with all the time. It can change as you develop. Sometimes you'll want to be the leader. Sometimes you'll want somebody else to take the lead. So it's a back and forth of deciding when you want to do that. And all of this goes back to knowing yourself, knowing your flow, knowing and understanding what the opportunities that come to you offer offer a moment of being a leader, or offer you a moment of being a follower, and being a follower because you believe in what the person is doing. No one is saying being a follower is a bad thing. And I think sometimes there's a negative connotation that's put on being a follower, and sometimes people get really triggered by certain words that associate people of being followers. But the thing is, there's different types of followers, right? And I think for most of us, we want to follow something because we're knowledgeable, and we've decided, you know what, this is something that I like, this is something that I find of value, this is something that I think is good for my life, so I'm going to follow this person, this standard, this idea, this concept, whatever it is. But then there are those people who follow because they don't have any direction for themselves. So they just find someone that has direction and they jump on that bandwagon. And I think that's dangerous, right? Because when you have that kind of following, it gets really complicated, because sometimes people lose themselves in a concept or an idea or a group or a mentality. And when you lose yourself in a group or a mentality like that, it's hard to kind of it's hard to find yourself again and to identify your unique purpose and to identify what it is that you're wanting to do, what it is that you think for yourself. You start thinking for someone else, or you start thinking the ideas of someone else. And again, let's be very clear about this. You know, adopting other people's ideas, there's nothing wrong with that, as long as you are contemplating those ideas and processing those ideas and then coming up with your own conclusion and saying, hey, this is a really good idea, or this is a really good concept or philosophy. Do I align with it? Does it help my life? Or is it something that I am following just because it sounds good? Because rhetoric is very available these days. And so with that being so readily available, it's important to step up to the plate and be a leader when you see something is not on the up and up, or when you see that or understand that, you know, there is a certain like veneer in front of a certain in front of an idea, and maybe when you look deep down inside, it doesn't have any kind of longevity, or it's really superficial. So those are the things that allow us to keep it simple, keep it clean and clear, so that we are able to protect ourselves and improve our situation, in the sense that we don't fall for the next rhetoric, we don't fall for the next oil salesman, or we don't fall for the next whatever. We want to make sure that through taking leadership, that we help others avoid the pitfalls of following someone blindly. We maintain a level of simplicity and clarity with the ideas that we're introducing into the world, with the concepts that we're introducing. And because there is, again, so much information within the media, within people doing on YouTube, everybody having an idea and being able to share that on the internet or social media, it can become very convoluted very fast. And that's why it's important to know yourself. It's important to understand who you are, so that you're able to decipher and protect your energy from people or agencies, or by agencies I just mean media, or a group of persons, or whoever it is. It could, you know, let's bring it down to like the mundane family, who want you to do a certain thing, who want to push you in a certain direction when you don't think that's the direction for you, or you following the footsteps of your persons because you believe this is the correct thing to do. So there's always different ways of being a leader, but the important thing is to understand that, or to grasp that certain things, there's a level of simplicity that comes to being a leader. And when things get too complicated, where there's too much information and things like that, to keep it simple, to keep the message simple, to keep the idea of what being a leader is, to keep your message simple, to understand that this is why I'm doing something, and this allows you to protect yourself, and it gives you room to relax, it gives you room to be yourself, so you no longer have to have a persona or veneer. And by persona, I mean you don't have to be fake with people, because when we are in a situation, let's use work, because that's really difficult at work to be yourself. Most people in a work environment have a persona, because there's rules that you follow at work. You know, there's a lot of things about being politically correct. There's a lot of things that are happening that you have to follow in order to keep your job. So you can't ever, it's very hard to be a leader at work with regards to certain things. And by being a leader, I'm not just talking about being the president of the company or a manager, things like that. There are those roles of leadership, but I think this message is talking about stepping up to the plate. So if something doesn't feel right to you, or something doesn't sound right to you, or the facts just seem off, your intuition is gnawing at you that this isn't right, in a work environment where you work with others, where the company has rules that you have to follow, it's really hard to be a leader, because you can lose your job for speaking up against something like a company policy. You can lose your job for saying the wrong thing to someone who isn't aligned with your belief system. So a lot of people are putting on personas in their workplace because it's even though it might be promoted to be yourself, no one really wants you to be yourself. Let's just be honest about it. So these are the situations where you have to protect yourself and your energy. And it's really up to you to take on that leadership role, to figure out what the consequences of you saying this isn't right, or you saying this is not something that I want to align with. So by doing that, it helps you to, again, relax. And by relax, I mean, like, you don't have to pretend anymore. You can be yourself. You can express your ideas, as long as, you know, they're not hurting people, or you're not being blatantly rude. And by doing that, what you help to release unwanted pressure on yourself, and you can be more aligned with what fulfills you by being honest, by, you know, so there's one path. Let's talk about this one path to being a leader, and then we can talk about it in a work or in a family situation. So being a leader in the most general aspect, when it comes to work, like, you know, the company has a process. You decide whether you want to align with that process. By taking up a leadership role, you allow yourself some simplicity. You don't have to, like, wear the veneer. You don't have to be fake at work. And then that protects you from having to take on a lot of energy, because when you have to, like, be fake and you have to have multiple personalities, it's very overwhelming, and a lot of people can get depressed. I'm not a doctor, but it's just things that I observe, and it doesn't necessarily mean it's true. It's just what I've observed in the past. And it's not always like in my work situation, or it's just sometimes people will tell me information, or I will watch someone and on a video or something like that, and they'll be talking about certain things, and, you know, it seems like, yes, there's a promotion to be authentic, to be you, but it's within this construct. It's within the rules that you're given. And if you're not falling into those rules, then forget about it. You're gonna have to play by the rules, or you're out of here. So when you, like, stop pretending, it helps you to relax. It helps you to be yourself. It helps you to find your fulfillment better. Let's say this is with regards to friendships. You know, maybe you have a group of friends, and they're just not aligning with what it is that you want in your life. Don't be afraid to step up and say, I want something different. I want to take a different path than you, because that keeps life a bit simpler, and it protects you from possible consequences of going down a road that doesn't align with you. And as you get to a place where you're more comfortable with yourself, you're relaxed, you're finding fulfillment in life, if this is in a relationship, whatever it is, it's about you speaking up and saying X, Y, and Z, and being really proud and really excited about being able to be yourself, being excited about presenting yourself to others without feeling like you can't be yourself, because it, you know, other people are going to be uncomfortable with it. So when we wrap up this whole story or this conversation, leadership is something that takes a lot of responsibility to do. And by responsibility, I don't mean the responsibility of a CEO. I mean the responsibility of speaking up, the responsibility of actually saying that something isn't right. And I know I'm repeating myself, but I feel like I need to explain so you understand that being a leader doesn't have to be something where you own a company, or, because I think that's naturally what people associate it with. But depending who I'm talking to, you know, you could be, you know, at a corporate job where you have to be a leader. You could be a student where you have to be a leader among your student body. Or you can be, you know, this could be a relationship where you have to be a leader about how your relationship is developing, the things that you want to do for your relationship, how you want it to grow, you know, speaking up, saying what it is that you want in your relationships, in your partnerships, whether they're platonic or romantic. Stepping up, with regards to how you want your kids educated. Let's bigger picture, the political aspects. There are different things where you can be a leader, and that responsibility can be overwhelming. So keep it simple, keep it clean, keep clarity, understand what it is that you're standing up for. And as you do that, know that you are supported and loved, and that people sometimes, when you don't say anything, you feel like you're alone because you don't say anything. But there are people who are silent and thinking the same thing that you're thinking, but they just need that person to say, hey, I'm on the same page as you are. Hey, I'm ready to say what it is that I think everybody else is thinking. And so you gain a group where you can feel more comfortable, and that group becomes like a protective center, or protective network for you to be able to converse and share your ideas and see how you can apply that to the world, or how you can apply that to your life and see how it will change your progress. And that allows you to be like, oh man, I don't have to like put on a face today, like, hey, let me put on my face for work, hey. And I say this because I remember when I was working a long time ago, like I'm still working, but when I was in my 20s, and I'm someone who wears my emotions on my sleeve. So if I'm having a bad day, you usually know it through my demeanor and my face, my facial expressions. So I was at work, and I guess I maybe was not having a great day. I don't know if I had an exam and I didn't do well, or I don't know if I didn't sleep well. But my manager pulled me aside, and she's like, I know you want to grow with the company. I know you're a really hard worker, but sometimes understand that like, this is a stage and you have to play your part. So it was like, if you're having a bad day, and granted that I was in a profession where first impressions mattered, and I was if I was in a bad mood, maybe I projected that onto my client. Maybe I wasn't as nice, but I thought I was always good at maintaining a smile, even though it may not have been completely genuine. But I was always good at that. But the message that my manager was giving me was like, I don't care what's going on in your personal life, when you're here or in general in life, you have to put on your mask. You have to put on your suit, and you have to zip it up and hello, So that's a message that I've learned throughout my life. And as much as I hear company mottos about people being themselves and being accepted, I don't know how true it is. It's just like certain things are accepted, right? The things that the company or the majority decide that are accepted, but other things are not. So it's really interesting. And through learning that, I have done my best to maintain very genuine interactions with people. So even if I am in a bad mood, before I leave my house, I say to myself, you know what I count my gratitudes, and usually counting my gratitudes or being in a state of gratitude helps me to change my perspective. And if I, woke up because I didn't get enough sleep and that put me in a bad mood, doing my gratitudes helped me to adjust my attitude so then I could present the best version of myself to people. But it doesn't always work. Sometimes I walk into work and I'm bombarded with emails and things where I feel like I've repeated myself several times and I'm being asked the same question, and that can be annoying depending on your personality type, and sometimes it annoys me, right? So I have to try to always be genuine. My goal is to always be genuine in my interaction. So even if I'm in a bad mood, I will try to find something about the person that's really nice and compliment them. And my aunt taught me that, to compliment people, and not out of like I'm kissing your butt or I'm just being fake. It's just like finding something nice about someone and making them feel good even though I'm not feeling my best. And that usually uplifts you, believe it or not. Like making somebody smile, making someone feel good, it's a good way to help you feel good as well. So those are some of the things. But in my life, I have seen people who are extremely disingenuous, who can smile in your face, make you feel like you are so special and that they have your complete attention and they adore and whatever you, and then once you turn your back, it's a whole different story. And I've always tried to avoid being that person because I didn't like it. I didn't like seeing it. I didn't want to be that person. I didn't want to be a manipulator. I'm capable of manipulating people for sure because I guess I'm an empath or I'm intuitive and I feel people's emotions, and and I like to study people and connect with people, so it's not hard for me to manipulate someone. I don't think. Maybe it is and I just whatever, but that's something that is the shadow aspect, right? And I don't tap into that energy. I tap into an energy of love and unconditional love where I genuinely attempt to interact with people. And that's how I am a leader in my world. And it's small, but I see it getting bigger. And I hope it's getting bigger, right? Where we can have genuine interactions with each other. On social media, that's very difficult. I see it more and more where people will, show themselves in their most imperfect selves, but most of social media is perfection. It's an idea of perfection. It's a misleading idea of perfection that people eat and also give because people eat it up so much. And we can go back to like celebrities and stuff, right? Some celebrities, when they're not all dolled up and the thing is gone they're very different people, but we're sold this persona, we're sold this idea. But imagine if we could be ourselves. Imagine if, sorry, there's a gnat in front of my face, I'm sorry, from my plants. It is like flying right in from my face, I'm sorry. But there is a veneer, a persona that we believe is true about this person, and then let's say we see this person outside of that persona in their natural habitat, or them having taken off their suit. They're a different person and it shocks us, and we're like, wow, you're like very different. So you might even say that person's rude, but that's who they are. But they have to put a persona for you because you want that. We've been conditioned to want people to be something that they're not. And being a leader is about breaking those things that don't help us as a collective, as individuals grow. So let's wrap this all up in this conversation. When it comes to inner peace and security, what does it mean to be a leader? We know that being a leader means keeping things simple, taking out all the complicated aspects and saying, this is what we should be doing, or this is what I think we should be doing. This is the direction we should be going into. This is something I don't agree with. This is what I agree with. This is this. And having a conversation that's really simple and clear that people can follow. And by doing that, by taking the chance, the risk of stepping up and saying, I want to lead this connection or this relationship, you connect with people who are like-minded, with people who can support you and give you room to flourish with that concept or idea. And as I say this does not have to be something good or bad. So let's remember that, because you can have someone who's a leader of a really negative situation or company or movement, right? But it's about allowing the room for exploration. And you have to determine where that exploration is taking you. And that's why we talk about blind following, right? Not being a blind follower, knowing what you're following, knowing what you're supporting, knowing what you're getting involved in. Because by knowing that, it allows you to be a little bit more relaxed. And that always goes back to knowing yourself, which I talk about all the time because that's so important. Knowing your foundation, where you're coming from, and being able to tethered to something that helps you continuously to grow and develop yourself and find more about yourself. And when you're relaxed, you're just more open to getting fulfillment in your life. You're more open to flourishing. You're more open to growing. You escape the fallacies of, of having to wear a veneer and having to keep up with the Joneses or the Kardashians or whatever it is, like having to keep up with a certain persona or personality about yourself and feeling like you always are on a stage. The world is a stage and you're playing a merit part or something like that. I think that's Shakespeare, but I'm not sure. So all these things, indications that we're all in a way acting, but do whatever, even if you do believe that, whatever part you're playing, is it genuinely yours, or are you being coerced or being influenced into playing a part that may not be genuine to you? All right, I hope this energy was helpful to you. I hope I was able to convey a clear message that allowed you to understand how inner security and how inner peace and security are related to being a leader and stepping up, how that helps you find inner peace when you don't have to have personas, when you don't have to be fake and whatever, when you can be yourself, genuine, loving self, unconditional love that allows you to be relaxed, that gives you a sense of inner peace, and that brings you security because no one has anything to hold against you for being yourself. Although people can find a reason, but most people are not going to hold it against you for being yourself. All right, before we get going, I want to thank you for liking and sharing and subscribing to the channel and putting on the notifications so you know when I post information. And the reason I'm asking you to do all of these things is, one, to support me with my dream to grow and to spread the message to be of more help to people. And second, it allows the YouTube algorithm to put me in a place where the message gets spread out and it says, hey, this person is relevant because their videos are being liked and people are sharing it and they have something of value to say, right? Because everybody who's a creator on YouTube has to play the algorithm game to some extent. I don't know other people's versions of it, how they do it, but definitely I'm asking you for your help at this time to help the channel grow and to keep it going. And also comment with me. This conversation about leadership is something that we can definitely discuss, because I know a lot of people want to be in leadership positions, right? Want to take and step up to that plate and do something different for their community, their family, and step out. And being a leader too, like from ancestral energy, can be you totally breaking out from your family path and doing something very different. Let's say your family, everybody in your family, most people in your family were doctors. You can decide, you know what, I want to be an artist. Or most people in your family weren't doctors and they did other things, and you're like, you know what, I want to go to graduate school, I want to go to medical school, I want to be a lawyer, I want to be this. And that's being a leader, breaking from the pact and doing something that is different and allowing yourself to connect with like-minded individuals so you're able to grow and flourish. So again, this is what I'm hoping you got from this message, and that commenting and connecting with me will help me understand where you're at when it comes to being a leader, when it comes to feeling like you can be yourself, when it comes to feeling relaxed where you don't have to I don't know if that bug just flew in my mouth, I apologize for that. Where you don't feel like you have to wear a veneer, and you can be relaxed in your own skin, relaxed in your own thought processes and who you are, and finding fulfillment in all of that stuff by being you. So comment, let's have a discussion. If you don't want to comment here, you can connect with me on my website. We can converse through email. And at the end of the video, I'm going to put pictures of the jewelry that I'm wearing the rings. So you can go to my website if you're interested and purchase and support me in that way. And if none of that interests you, you can always connect with me with regards to the conversations that we have, and we can connect in that way. So the cheapest way to help me out is to like, subscribe, and share this video and put on your notifications so you know when I post more messages. All right, I will talk to you again. I love you. Take care of yourself.